here somewhere. I have no choice. You have no choice. It's right here in front of you. Confront what this is, because it's something powerful and you feel it. Now, I had already began writing multiple books. I had already built my website up. I was already coaching people for free for 6 years. I've been working with people, investing in people, working really hard to invest in my community. On the down low, keeping myself a low profile. Why is that? What is that place of lacking where I don't hold the responsibility for the provisions that I really want? I want to step into it, but God tested me. The divine intervention of saying, you're not present for conversations that are being had, and this person's getting out of the relationship, and you know it. And I did know it. So in that process, I was put in that position through synchronicities, man. I knew it beforehand. Like, I thought this person might be the one. And I thought I was certain of it. What I know now is that I was certain that I was supposed to be with that person, and this was supposed to happen. And when it did, it shed light. And so, for example, if I'm in a place of uncertainty and lacking, I go on to highlight that when you are in this state, you cannot hold the provisions and abundance that God provides when you make a decision to recognize, integrate, and surrender yourself to this discovery that truly completes missing pieces and puts you in the light. A powerful state of mind. So you go from a primal state of anxiety and lacking and fears and uncertainty and all of these things that keep you in that low vibration, away from your ability to begin embodying what it is that you want, the provisions, the responsibility. 2 years ago, I would ride my bicycle through Charleston, South Carolina. I was cycling for a while. I got rid of my car to get rid of parts of my ego. I went the whole 9 yards. I got rid of my TV. I've been working on myself for a long time. And during that time, I made some confessions to some very close people that, look, man, I fear success. Right? And that is your performance. I fear success for being rejected and what I bring to the table. There's a fear of that. I fear the responsibility. I'm not able to step into that responsibility, because that responsibility is going to bring me abundance. What I have to bring is very unique. Weekly newsletter subscription that highlights my strengths as a expert in or a master in the energy systems of the body as an exercise physiologist, but there is a metapsychophysiological aspect of it, mind, body, spirit, to all of it. And I figured this out. And so I started incorporating and intersecting. There's an intersectionality of all of the pillars of the Fitness and Health Investment Initiative. And so I was using that to my advantage. So I might as well highlight some of my strengths as an exercise physiologist by providing research analysis, coaching questions and answers with the pillars of 5, for example, with your physiological and cellular health. I can't talk clearly. I never can. You have to forgive me for that sometimes. I get ahead of myself and I get all excited when I'm on the video. Those pillars, so the physiological, the integration, your emotional, spiritual, and mental mindset state, or your frame. And so why not be able to use those in my coaching Q&A? Or Jeremy's mainstream media scoop and spin, where I take the mainstream media's rather myopic approach. They're going to be limited in the information they give you so that they can control your perception of reality. I have deconstructed the system and continue to do so, and I can bring a little bit into what I do with the rest of the newsletter. And then we have our transformational coaching, the one-on-one mentorship, the group collective curriculum. So I'm building a curriculum. All of these things, I'm taking steps forward that otherwise I would not have been doing. And all of that unassigned love, that is powerful and profound. And so that's a part of our procrastination. Procrastination has been on my mind quite frequently because I write about it. As a matter of fact, it's a chapter in my book, and this is what makes me go back and want to refine some chapters before I send it back to my editor. The editor already killed my ego multiple times, and so sending it back again, refined, there's going to be more to add. But I'm very grateful in that this opportunity came up, and I'll tell you this, I've been in no contact for 3 months, and at this point, I was supposed to have been living with this person, okay? And so there have been like milestones for me that are kind of like, I have in my mind somewhere in there. I don't think about it much. This is the first time I've mentioned it, even to myself, in a few days. But this is like a part of the closure. And a lot of the closure is understanding where your procrastination was coming from. And that's very crucial for this process for you, if you've taken that route. There may be people here that are very young and they're still developing in many ways. Maybe your capacity is limited right now. You're still holding on to a lot of parts of your ego, and that's fine, man. Look, the one thing that I've written about here is it's really interesting, the relationship that the ego and the self have in self-discovery. The ego is actually guiding you when it comes down to this. Is my observation anyway. Again, I could be wrong, and there are people out there who are much more in tune than I. But it's really interesting how the ego actually is guiding the self into self-realization, self-discovery. The ego is guiding you to self-discovery. Even if it's backing you into a corner, even if it's putting you in a position where you're going to be seriously hurt, which that's the avoidant discard, the emotional execution, right? So here we are, and we're learning about procrastination because, look, when I'm talking to people out there, I want to know what it is they seek to do, and then you ask these questions from that no man's land in between point A, where your problem is, and B, the solution or the desired outcome that you want. And somewhere in there, we're going to talk about these unwritten or unconscious scripts and where they come from. You have to, if you want to take the next step forward. Even people who make a lot of money, people who are really successful. Look, I sat down to dinner with a guy that's worth $9 million. Okay? And even he talks about his insecurities, man. And it's really interesting because a guy like me who's very empathic, he knows this and he senses it. People can sense that from you, and they just divulge shit to you. Like people, today, I bought a pair of sunglasses today, and the woman got to talking with me. She says, my knee's been killing me, and I put on some weight, this and that. And so I said, well, I just worked with some patients today, and I have a YouTube channel. You should check it out. IMM Jeremy Watts. I put on exercises out there. I was doing that during COVID-19, and it turns out I use it as a reference and a resource for people who graduate cardiac therapy, right? So it actually kind of worked out in the long run. You end up doing what you wanted to do. That person became my 131st subscriber, which is great, man. That's 131 people whose lives I'm impacting. That's all I asked for. I only asked for one. That's all. If I reach one person, that is everything. That's everything, right? So anyway, I'm talking with this woman, and she just starts divulging all of her medical stuff. She even stops. She goes, here I am, I'm telling a complete stranger all of my medical problems. And I'm like, no, this is what I do for a living. Why don't you go get your phone real fast, and I'll share my website with you and my YouTube channel. She goes, ooh, I like how you just told me, you just led me. I love that. That was kind of sexy. She's an older woman. She goes, that was really sexy. I like that. We don't have enough of that in the world today. And I appreciated that, because here I am with the avoidant, and I'm in a divine feminine state, right? A divine feminine state, chasing this person. That person's in their seriously anchored divine masculine state, not knowing what the hell they're doing, even though they do, kind of. Who knows when it comes down to it. And we're switching over. Now it's my turn. Now I've got the power. It's not an abusive power. It is a self-authoritative power. I've got authority of my self-love. and self-respect and self-dignity, and I shall lead in that manner myself moving forward and emanate that vibration to others, and people sense that. And that's how we roll nowadays. We are not going back, and that's where I go back to the silk shirt. Let that vibe out, man. Let it resonate through that shirt. You're supposed to be comfortable. My philosophy with the shirt is this: you wear what's comfortable. And I'm not talking about Crocs. I'm not talking about baggy sweatpants. Although, look, hey, to each their own. If that's how you feel, let me take it back. I am talking about those things. If that's what you're comfortable in and that's what's going to help you thrive and to nutrify your tree root system, i.e. your nervous system, to end up resonating and aligning with your powerful state of mind, by all means. How about you do that? Run out there butt naked, for crying out loud, if that's what makes you comfortable. You might get arrested, but as long as you're comfortable, what's it matter, right? Don't go do it naked, guys, all right?